Class 8 CBSE. Welcome to the Wisdom 360 live session. Today we'll be continuing the chapter that is Cell Structure and Function. It is chapter number 8 on page number 90 from the NCERT book. In the previous class, we have learnt about the cell theory and the discovery of the cell. Also, we learnt about the composition of a cell and different kinds or types of cell, that is the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. Today we'll be taking the cell organelles. As you know that a plant or an animal cell comprises of three basic components, that is the cytoplasm enveloped in a membrane known as the cell membrane or plasma membrane. Third is the control center of the cell, that is the nucleus. These three are common cell organelles found in both the types of organism, whether it may be a plant or an animal. Fourth are the cell organelles. These are the parts of the cell that constitute any living thing or living organism. In this part, cell organelles, that is the composition or the constituents of a cell. About these, the cell organelles are the tiny little organs of the cell that have their individual functions and life processes to be performed. Cell organelles which are found only in a plant cell, or you can write it like this: a column containing the features in a plant cell and an animal cell. Feature like cell wall. It is only present in a plant cell, but absent in animal cell. Second, the centrosome. These are present in an animal cell but are absent in plant cell. Features, or you can say the cell organelles, you are learning it. Third is the vacuole. In a plant cell, vacuoles are large and prominent. Large and prominent. The meaning of prominent is ubhra hua. Animal cell lacks vacuole or very small or negligible size. If any, it is found in a very small size. Next are the plastids. Plastids are absent in an animal cell but present in a plant cell. I'll be telling you about their functions and the location. These are the structural differences. Structural differences meaning the plant cell and animal cell कैसे बने हुए हैं, ये सेल ऑर्गेनल्स इन दोनों में कैसे हैं अगर हैं तो. Now I'll be telling you about the quantitative differences. Quantitative means in number. These are structural differences. Now we'll be taking about the quantitative differences. Quantity means the features including the size of the cell, amount of cytoplasm, and the arrangement of cytoplasm. The plant cell is usually larger with distinct outlines. Distinct means alag alag. Outlines means the membrane. Animal cells are usually smaller with less distinct outlines. Outlines or the boundaries. Cytoplasm in a plant cell is not so dense. But it is denser and more granular. In an animal cell. Here the word dense or density means the thickness of the cytoplasm. As you all know that cytoplasm is the liquid of the cell or the jelly-like substance in which all the cell organelles are present in scattered form. In a plant cell, the cytoplasm is arranged only a thin lining. So you can write it like only a thin lining of cytoplasm, mostly it is in pushed form. You can write it mostly pushed to the boundaries or the periphery. Okay. And cytoplasm fills almost the entire cell in an animal cell. Okay. So these are the quantitative differences between a plant cell and animal cell. These are the size, cytoplasm, and the arrangement of the cytoplasm. Each and every point is very important, whether it may be the structural difference or the quantitative differences. If you have to understand a plant cell and animal cell, firstly you should know about the structure and the presence and absence of cell organelles. Now we'll be taking about the parts of the cell. I'm Ramaget. First of all, let us discuss about the plasma membrane or the cell membrane, which forms the outermost covering of any cell. The main characteristic or the features of the plasma membrane are: it is the outermost layer in animal cell. Second, it lies next to the cell wall in a plant cell. That means the cell wall is absent in animal cell. It is only present in a plant cell. It's a cell organelle. Next point, it is very thin, flexible, and living membrane. Living membrane means it is made up of living cells. Next, it possesses fine pores. Fine pores का मतलब क्या है? As in the previous lecture, you studied that the nature of the plasma membrane is semi-permeable. We studied about three different membranes. First one was semi-permeable, second was selectively permeable, and third was impermeable. So, plasma membrane possesses fine pores. That gives the nature which is called as semi-permeable, that allows certain materials to pass through it. The plasma membrane or the cell is basically made from the proteins, or you can call the proteins are the building blocks of cell. And the plasma membrane is formed from the lipoproteins. Lipoproteins are the kinds of proteins. There are a number of proteins found on this earth. Different organisms are made from these proteins, and the simpler form of proteins are the amino acids, which are a component of nitrogen. The nitrogen which is present in abundance, that is 78% in the atmosphere, that is the main constituent of the amino acids or the proteins. Now, the chief function or the main function of the cell membrane. The main function of the cell membrane is it regulates the entry of certain solutes and ions. ओके, सोल्यूट्स एंड आयंस का मतलब क्या है? सोल्यूट्स एंड सॉल्वेंट्स. सोल्यूट का मतलब जो चीज़ घोली जाए. आयंस का मतलब जो पार्टिकल्स अपने ऊपर चार्जेस लेकर के सेल के अंदर एंटर करते हैं. चार्जेस और द एनर्जी. And the cell membrane or the plasma membrane also provides and maintains the shape of the cell. So you can write it, maintain shape of the cells in animal. Why I am writing in animal only? Because in the plants there is a cell organelle named cell wall which provides rigidity to the cell. As you all know that plants do not move from one place to another. Animals do move. They show the locomotion, that is the movement of entire body. The plants have an extra protective covering around their cell wall that is provided by the nature itself. This is made up of dead cells, or you can call them as cellulose. Cellulose, which is a complex carbohydrate. This is the first cell organelle which is found both in the plant and animal cell. Now let us take the other part or the cell organelle. Now we will be taking about the cell wall. This cell organelle is found only in the plant cells. Its first major characteristic is it is non-living. Rigid. Rigid means tough. Non-living, rigid layers surrounding the plasma membrane. Or the cell membrane. Second, the cell wall is made up of or is mainly composed of cellulose, cellulose is a complex carbohydrate. You must have studied about the main source of energy, nutrient, that is carbohydrate, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. It is the mixture of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. It is in the ratio of 1:2:1. That means 1 molecule of carbon, 2 molecule of hydrogen, and again 1 molecule of oxygen. This is the major source of energy on this earth, and also it is the photosynthetic product, that is sugar. Cellulose plants की body में उनकी outermost covering, that is the bark or the cambium, this is made up of dead cells, and these are the complex chain of sugar. Many sugar molecules join to form complex carbohydrates, and cellulose is one of them. The cell wall is freely permeable. That means it allows materials to pass through it very easily. Now the chief functions, these are the characteristics or the features of the cell wall. Now the functions. The cell wall gives rigidity and shape to the cell. Rigid means toughness, and to the cell means the plant cell. The cell wall also allows substances in the solution to enter and leave the cell without any hindrance. As it is freely permeable. Freely permeable means easily इसके through चीज़ें आर पार हो जाती हैं. And foremost, the cell wall provides protection to the cell. Okay. So this is the second cell organelle, which is found only in plants. Now let us take the cytoplasm. Okay. As you all know that cytoplasm is present in both the type of cells. It is also present in plant cell as well as in animal cell. So you can write the major characteristic as all the parts together inside the plasma membrane or the cell membrane excluding the nucleus, because न्यूक्लियस की जो लेयर है उसको बोलते हैं न्यूक्लियर मेम्ब्रेन, एंड न्यूक्लियस के अंदर, न्यूक्लियर मेम्ब्रेन के अंदर जो लिक्विड है उसको कहते हैं न्यूक्लियोप्लाज्म. ओके, साइटोप्लाज्म contains a mixture of water and soluble inorganic and organic compounds. इनऑर्गेनिक और ऑर्गेनिक का मतलब, ऑर्गेनिक मीन्स दैट is made up of carbon and inorganic means that is not made up of carbon but from any other compound like nitrogen. इनऑर्गेनिक में आपके जो मिनरल्स आ जाते हैं, नाइट्रोजन से बने हुए प्रोटीन्स या अमीनो एसिड्स आ जाते हैं, ये सारी चीज़ें साइटोप्लाज्म में फ्रीली फ्लोट करती हैं. एंड इनसाइड द साइटोप्लाज्म all the cell organelles are contained. Cell organelles are contained. Cytoplasm is the living substance inside the cell, and all the life functions or life processes are performed here. It is the major characteristic feature or function of the cytoplasm. Okay. These two are the major function of the cytoplasm. Now let us take the other cell organelle or the part of the cell, that is endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum, or in short You can call it as ER. It is the irregular network of tubules. Tubules means the pipes, or the irregular network of tubules forming double membrane. And it is continuous with the plasma membrane. Meaning it runs along with the plasma membrane. It forms a network inside the cell and also act like a pipeline of the cell or the factory. Cell as a factory and endoplasmic reticulum are the pipelines. Just compare it like that only. It is forming the supportive framework and also the synthesis and transport of proteins and fats. The endoplasmic reticulum gives the function of providing supportive framework for the cell and synthesis of or synthesis and transport of the proteins and fats. Along with them, the cell organelle named ribosomes this is the cell organelle which is in the form of small granules. Granules are the small particles, or you can call them as the crystals or droplets, which are formed from the plant body and from glycogen in animal cells, and this serves like serving like food or energy to the plant cell or animal cell. The ribosomes are either scattered in the cytoplasm, you can call them like the features, these are small granules, either scattering in the cytoplasm or these are attached to the outside of endoplasmic reticulum. And the parts which are coming in attachment to the endoplasmic reticulum. When the ribosomes are attached to the endoplasmic reticulum, it is called as are called as rough endoplasmic reticulum or RER. Okay, and the portion of the endoplasmic reticulum where the ribosomes are not attached, it is called as smooth endoplasmic reticulum, smooth ER, or you can call us SER, जहाँ पर ribosomes नहीं attached हैं, तो not attached. Ribosomes का काम होता है to make proteins, or you can write it as synthesis of proteins. Okay. The endoplasmic reticulum provides a pathway for the transport of materials within a cell and between two cells. And with the help of ribosomes, the proteins are synthesized. So these two work in a coordination to make proteins as well as for transporting different substances within or outside the cell. We have studied about 5 cell organelles till now, and there are many other cell organelles left for discussion. We will be taking them in the next class. इसके साथ साथ जैसे ही ये सारे सेल ऑर्गेनल्स आप एक्सप्लेनेशन के साथ में समझ लेते हैं, आपको डायग्राम के अंदर जब ये पार्ट्स बनाए जाएंगे तो उनकी लोकेशन और उसका स्ट्रक्चर दोनों चीज़ें एक साथ समझ में आएंगी. अभी आप उसका फंक्शन और उसके कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स के बारे में जान रहे हैं कि वो स्ट्रक्चर में दिखता कैसा है, उसके बारे में डिटेल्स क्या हैं. And in the next class we'll be discussing about the other cell organelles, and if time is left we'll be making the parts of the cell in a plant cell and as well as in an animal cell. So till now, revise and stay fit.